Hello, welcome back to Marydale Lane. My name is Maddie, and I had a whole different plan for this video where I was going to show some different fall themed picture books, and I will still make that video, it's coming, but before I film it, there are a couple more specific books that I want to get my hands on. So I'm going to hold off probably for another week before I make that video. And so today I actually decided to do some books for grown-ups. So these are all, this is a heavy stack. These are all some different art books that are for adults. And so I thought I would go through just because I figure whoever has found their way to this video may be like me, maybe a little bit creatively minded, enjoys seeing works of art by other people. So I'm going to show the covers of the books now, and then I'll flip you guys down to the tabletop view so we can actually flip through some of them as well. So the first one is Color in and Out of the Garden by Lorene Edwards Faulkner. I'm really excited to delve into this one. I love, love, love the cover. Actually, all of these have beautiful, beautiful covers. The art and the artist, Mary Englebright. She has such a distinct style. Something about it just makes me very nostalgic. All right, the next one is called Kaleidoscope by Suzanne Simonides. Love this one as well. Lots of different art styles. The next two I feel like are classics if you're like me and you work in early education. One of them is The Art of Eric Carle. I mean, what an icon. And then this one's a little bit newer, but it's Art Workshops for Children by Hervé Toulet. Hervé Toulet is one of my favorite picture book authors. Well, I could say that about a lot of picture book authors, but I really love how creative and like there's a real sense of ingenuity in the way he approaches picture books. And I don't have any in my own collection. So it's definitely something I'm going to be looking for, but I haven't stumbled across any secondhand yet. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip you down and we'll do a few flip throughs through each of them. I'll talk about what I really like about them and why I recommend them. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this first one is Color in and Out of the Garden by Lorene Edwards Faulkner. And she is a really inspiring artist for me because what she's done is she's made a daily practice out of going out into her garden. She's an incredible gardener, and she's actually, I believe, out in West Seattle, which is not very far from where I live. And she does these watercolor, like color swatches. And so this whole book is a reflection on different families of color and different plants, different stories behind this practice that she does, and stories about plants. She just really delves into a lot of different areas and then has all of these photographs of her work, and they are just beautiful. So she goes into a little bit of color theory. Yeah, they're just, I think I'm actually gonna flip through it this way. I love all of the different, like the fuchsia color and the green and purple end pages. I feel bad like bending the book this way. This one's still, I've only read through it once. So she goes into a little bit about technique. But with her art, it's very much about like the meditative practice of it, as opposed to building up specific skills, which I really like. I find looking at her work really like reflective. It's interesting to think about if I were to do a daily practice, what it would look like. I've never quite managed to stay consistent with an art practice in that way. So I think it's something I really admire. Yeah, they're just so stunning. And she posts them all on her Instagram. Although for the life of me right now, I can't remember what the Instagram handle is, but be sure to check out the description. I'll link it down there. But she has just the most beautiful like profile of all these different color spreads. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Such a beautiful book. Highly recommend. All right, let's see. The next one I'll dip into is The Art and Artist of Mary Englebright. I really enjoy Mary Englebright's style. It's so different from mine. There's something very old-fashioned and kitschy and grandma, but like in the best sort of way. My older sister and I have quite an age gap, and my sister grew up in the 80s, and as an adult, especially a younger adult, absolutely loved everything Mary Englebright. Like every birthday card I got, or like wrapping paper. But this book I really loved because it follows through Mary Englebright's career progression. And I think it's such a cool thing to read about people's different pathways into an art career. And then it's sprinkled through with different pieces of her work and kind of the stories behind them. What was the inspiration and why was this made? And I just found this one so much fun. Some of her like really early works, like this illustration she did when she was 17. But it's just so full of stories about her life, her family, her career path. And it's just such a fun, like joyful style. Yeah, she's interspersed kind of photos of her real home and space. Little catalog card. I got this from a secondhand bookstore out in Issaquah, Washington. And it came with that little catalog card, and I was using it as a bookmark. Yeah, this one is really dense. It's a lot of pages, but the back half is like just art, no text. Yeah, love Mary Englebright. I think her work is amazing. It's so much fun, and it's so dissimilar from my own, which is always fun. Kaleidoscope is a little bit different. It's not one, I don't know, it's not one that hugely speaks to me, even though I kind of feel like it should, but I do think it will resonate with a lot of people. It's got all of these different articles and essays and project ideas from a variety of mixed media artists. Lots of them are into collage, and lots of them are into making zines, which I think is really cool. It's just not something I've ever gotten into, but I love the messages behind all of it, like experimenting with your art, experimenting with mark making, starting projects and not necessarily knowing how they're going to end up. That I ended up really enjoying this book, even if I didn't really resonate with a lot of the project ideas in it. I appreciated the variety of different artists that contributed to the book. I think it was really fun seeing photographs of all of their different strategies and the types of art they like to make. Yeah, this one's probably the least like the others. So there's Kaleidoscope. And I'm kind of speeding through this video. I don't want this to be like too lengthy. I feel like sometimes I see book recommendation videos where they just kind of go on, and it's like, man, I haven't even committed to reading the book yet. I don't want to hear about it that much. So I'm just trying to give maybe a little taste. But this is The Art and Life of Eric Carle. And it's really autobiographical. So it goes through a lot about his childhood and his very early experiences making art. And he just has such an interesting story. Like over and over again, he talks about meeting all these different people. Like there are so many different characters. Yeah, and then all of these different art styles. What was really fun for me is that Eric Carle, as a picture book illustrator, has such a distinct style with his collage that it was crazy to see like all of these other artworks that he made. I'm like, how is that Eric Carle? But he hadn't yet found that sort of signature style. Yeah, little shrimp, lobster. Yeah, it goes into a lot about his family, his relationships, as well as the journey through his career. It also goes through some other people's perspectives on meeting Eric Carle, what he's like, and then similar to the Mary Englebright, it goes through a bunch of different illustrations from different stories that showcase that more signature Eric Carle style that you're probably familiar with. Yeah, this one talks a lot about his technique, how he developed it, how he went from more realistic art into this abstracted way of creating illustrations. Oh yeah, I love this bit, how Eric Carle creates his art. The step-by-step photo essay. I think it was a really cool insert. Someday I would love to visit the Eric Carle Museum. I think it's out towards the East Coast, but it would definitely be a fun trip to make sometime. So there's the art of Eric Carle. I actually saw this one at my workplace first, and I read it cover to cover. Then I was like, I need a copy to have at home. So now I have my own copy. And then this one is probably the most relevant for what I do. So I do a lot of both small scale and large scale art projects, prompts for kids that come into the Children's Museum where I work. And I do it as both a like structured class situation and as a spontaneous, random, you're in the museum today, come hang out and make art sort of thing. And so this style of book, written by an illustrator that I really admire, just seemed perfect. And so this is Hervé Toulet. He's an incredible artist and picture book maker. And it's just a bunch of different ideas for art workshops. And I am not usually very structured with my art provocations, and neither is he. These definitely aren't step by step. They're a little bit more involved than I might do on like a random museum day, but I definitely want to try some of these out with different classes I have. but it's just kind of instructions. And I love that he adds in bits of his own personal experience, where he's like, when I run this one, like these are the things that tend to happen. These are things I try to encourage. These are things I try to limit. And I love that he's like run all of these multiple times and really tells you kind of what to expect, or at least bits of his own experience. Not to mention, this book is just formatted in such a fun way. Like, I love all of the different page borders. I love looking at all of the different colors and projects and shapes. This one I'm really excited to do. They're like handprints and then coloring in the spaces where they overlap. But yeah, and then at the back of this one, there's a little bit of an essay on Hervé Toulet, as well as some photos from different workshops he's done. But yeah, this one, I don't know if it's just because I acquired it the newest or the most recently, but this is kind of my current favorite of the bunch. I've been really excited about. All right, so that's that on this book recommendations video. I tried to keep it pretty short and sweet. I'm not sure yet what I've ended up titling this video, but if you found your way here, I hope that you saw something that maybe piqued your interest. Books about art are definitely something I was not into when I was younger, that I'm getting more into now that I'm a little bit older and have a lot different life experience, and my kind of approach to how I look at art and how I view making art has just changed a lot. So these are all books that have been inspiring to me in different ways. And I hope even if you don't pick up any of these books, that maybe this video was a little bit interesting, or you at least got to see some pretty illustrations done by other people. But regardless, thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!